Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Gerald Mohr, starring in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. This episode goes back to August 5th, 1951. This episode entitled The Long Way Home.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gutter, the prison, or the grave. There's no other end, but they never learn.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Mohr, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Long Way Home.
The valley floor gave off the kind of heat that ate into you, stayed. I wondered why some 800,000 people voluntarily made the San Fernando Valley their home. That was their problem. My problem at the moment was to make a right turn off Riverside Drive, and I did. 4 or 5 blocks north, I saw the name on the redwood post by the driveway. Mr. and Mrs. Enos Harper. Yeah, this was it. I drove in the drive into the cool oasis, an orderly wilderness of pepper trees, palms, evergreens, and everything else I'd ever seen grown in Southern California. The house sat well back on the lot, very neat. Also redwood to match the post by the driveway. I got out of the car and walked across the grass toward the slightly stooped figure clipping the hedge on the far side of the lot.
Oh, my, I didn't hear you coming.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hope I didn't frighten you. I'm Philip Marlowe. You Mr. Harper?
Oh, yes, indeed, Mr. Marlowe. I'm glad you're here. Here, I'll pull up this chair.
Oh, that's all right. I'll get it.
It's all right. I've got it now.
Oh.
There. Sit down, Mr. Marlowe.
Oh, well, how about you?
Well, if you don't mind, I'll keep on clipping the hedge here while we talk. I feel better doing something, you know.
Oh, sure.
We could go into the house, I guess, if you'd rather. Well, it bothers me to be in there now.
Yeah, I expect it does. How long's she been gone, Mr. Harper?
Since Monday morning.
Oh?
About 9 o'clock, I guess it was. She got the laundry together, said she was going to the laundromat, and that's the last time I saw her.
Monday, that's 2 days ago. Did she take the car?
No, Amy doesn't drive. I offered to drive her. The laundromat's about 5 blocks from here. In that little community center on Riverside, you probably passed it.
Oh, yeah.
And she said no. She thought the walk would do her good.
And she hasn't called or anything since, huh?
No, nothing.
Oh. Well, how about friends, relatives?
Well, I've inquired around the neighborhood. You see, we haven't lived here long, Mr. Marlowe. We're not really what you'd call well acquainted with anyone here.
You mean the valley?
Well, in California, really. Oh. We're from New Jersey. Came out here right after the first of the year. Amy always wanted to live in California, and, well, we moved out.
Yeah, but about those relatives, you didn't say whether
I have none living. Oh. Amy does have a cousin out here, a cousin Beatrice. That's all I've ever heard her called, Beatrice. She lives in Burbank. I've never met her. Seems like I've always been busy when Amy's gone over there. Mm-hmm. Cousin Ray usually picks Amy up. That's Cousin Beatrice's husband.
Well, have you called there since Amy's disappearance?
Oh, yes, a number of times, but there's been no answer. And that's odd, too.
How odd?
Cousin Beatrice is an invalid, Amy says. That's why she's never come to call on us. Well, perhaps they were out when I called.
Maybe so. Tell me, Mr. Harper, you and Amy, have you been happy together? I mean, you haven't quarreled or anything.
Oh, no, Mr. Marlowe. Amy and I have never raised our voices to one another. We've been very happy.
Yeah. Well, there isn't much to go on. Oh, by the way, if you check the hospitals, there could have been an accident.
I thought of that first. Yes, I've called them. No one fitting Amy's description.
Oh, that's a point about that description. You have a recent picture of your wife?
Oh, yes, of course. Will you come in the house, Mr. Marlowe? I'll get one for you.
Okay, sure.
Ah, dear. Amy loved it here, Mr. Marlowe. Flowers, big trees, all those plants, you see. Amy cared for them, watered, cultivated them.
Yeah.
This is her garden, Mr. Marlowe. I'm just trying to keep it nice for her.
He turned finally, a slight little gray man, led the way into the house. I felt sorry for him. Didn't take much to figure that his Amy was his whole life. And in his mild, gentle way, his heart was broken. Inside the house, as neat and well-kept as Enos Harper himself, I got the first real shock of the day. Because the Amy I'd pictured in my mind as Enos spoke of her was nothing at all like the portrait he handed me from the mantel.
She's beautiful, isn't she, Mr. Marlowe?
Yes, she is.
Yes. She's young, too. Much younger than I.
Yeah, much?
I'm a very lucky man, Mr. Marlowe.
Well, about this picture, do you have a smaller one I can take with me?
Why, yes. One of these on the desk should be about the right size, I should think.
I hadn't spotted the gallery on the desk across the room until Enos started for him. A quick count, and I came up with 7 pictures of Amy, carefully arranged along the top ledge of the desk. All different, all beautiful. Sensational is a better word, I think. The tinted one showed the hair to be ash blonde, the eyes large and brown, and the mouth full. Enos broke the spell.
This one, Mr. Marlowe, I believe it's Amy's favorite.
Oh, thanks. This'll do fine.
I'd want it back later.
Oh, sure, you bet.
Now then, is there anything more, anything else that might be helpful?
Well, let's see. Oh, yeah, that Cousin Beatrice, Cousin Ray, their address and phone in Burbank, huh? And if they have a last name, that would help.
Well, I don't have their address, but I imagine it's in the book. Name's Quinlan.
Quinlan?
Ray Quinlan, Burbank.
Okay. And by the way, you said the laundromat your wife patronized is in the community center on Riverside?
On the north side of the street, just a few doors east of where you turned to come up here.
Oh, right.
I'll be waiting, Mr. Marlowe. If you find out anything.
Oh, sure. Right away. The little community had no name, but it had everything else. A series of one of each shops and services, all the way from health foods to a branch bank. Well, I parked on the street in front of the laundromat and studied the picture of Amy Harper again. Tried to figure her with a laundry bundle and couldn't. Tried to figure her with Enos and decided to go back to the laundry bundle. Made more sense. I went inside. Never smelled anything so clean.
Morning. Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a line on someone, a Mrs. Harper. Do you know her?
Mrs. Harper.
Mrs. Enos Harper. Oh, here. Here, look at this. She looks like this.
Oh, Amy, sure.
Yeah, well, when's the last time you saw her?
Well, let's see. A day or so ago, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Let me check the bundles here. That'd tell us.
All right.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, here we are. Monday it was. Monday morning, I think.
Yeah, well, what I'd like...
Excuse me, but my daughter's double parked out in front. Can I pick up my laundry?
You can if you got the right ticket.
Oh, yes, here it is.
Banning. Just washed, was it, Mrs. Banning? No ironing?
Just washed.
Here we go. Now, that's 62 cents.
Well, for once I had the right change.
Thank you. Can I take it out for you, Mrs. Banning?
Oh, thank you. No, I can manage. Oh, and thank you for letting me barge in.
Oh, think nothing of it.
What do you mean, you're trying to get a line on Amy?
Well, just that. Anyone ever come in with her?
No, can't remember anyone.
Well, can you remember if you noticed anything special about her when she came in Monday?
Yeah.
What?
You got her picture.
Yeah, I mean beside that.
No, she was just Amy.
Uh-huh.
You want to pick up her laundry?
I don't have her ticket. I was doing great, huh? Enos had told me Amy went to the laundromat on Monday morning, and now I knew as much as he did. Well, I took a picture with me into all the transportation offices around, bus, train, plane, car rental. Everyone liked the picture, but no one had sold her a ticket on anything. The supermarket and the drugstore were every bit as helpful, and then I remembered her green thumb.
Well, I must say I've seen her many times. Many times. With Mr. Harper, of course.
Well, do you think you might have seen her Monday?
No, not Mrs. Harper. I do believe Mr. Harper was in Monday, though. Seems to me it was about his zinnias.
Yeah, well...
Or was it his asters?
I really couldn't say.
I believe it was his asters. Of course, it really doesn't matter too much. They're the same family, you know.
Who?
Zinnias and asters, same family.
Oh.
Compositae, you know, that's the family name.
I'm impressed. But look, I want to tell you...
Can you imagine they used to be called starwort?
Huh?
Starwort, what a nasty little name for an aster.
Have you got a Burbank phone directory?
No, I beg pardon.
A Burbank phone directory.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the Harpers.
I thought we were, too. Star Wars.
Yeah?
Ray Quinlan?
That's right.
Well, I'm Philip Marlowe, investigating the possible disappearance of Amy Harper.
Amy. Oh, come in.
Thanks.
Come in.
I understand that she's your wife's cousin?
What? Oh, Beatrice, yeah. Sit down, Marlowe.
Oh, thanks.
Enos hired you, huh?
Yeah, that's right. He says he's tried to call here several times and no answer.
How long has Amy been missing?
Since Monday morning. Took some laundry to the laundromat, and that's all anybody knows. Have you seen her since then? Heard from her?
No, I sure haven't. We halfway expected to hear from Amy Monday, too. Usually do, but we didn't.
Well, how about your wife? Can I talk to her?
Beatrice isn't here. I took her to the hospital this morning. They're going to operate later today.
Oh, I hope it does the trick.
So do we.
Well, that's right. Enos says she's an invalid.
Yeah, that's right. How about Amy? That's all you know? Just that she left for the laundromat?
And got there. That's about it.
It's crazy. Amy wouldn't just disappear.
Wouldn't she?
No, I don't think she would.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the book, Mr. Quinlan, Central Directory. If you get any ideas, call me, huh?
Yeah, I will.
Oh, by the way, were they happy together, the Harpers?
Yes, as far as I know.
The late afternoon sun was just at eye level as I headed west again on Riverside Drive. Cousin Ray was a brown, solid man, not fat, but husky. Not too tall. 5'10", maybe. Must be about 35 or so. Enos wasn't home when I got back to Amy's natural habitat, so on a hunch, nothing more, I checked with the next-door neighbor. Mrs. Brownlee, her name was spooning her yogurt straight and propelling her patio glider like she was closing in on the finish line of the Honolulu yacht races.
Well, I saw her coming out of the laundromat and offered her a ride home.
Uh-huh.
Monday was just real warm, you may remember.
Or Lulu, yeah.
Well, yes, you might put it that way. Anyway, I told her I was driving right after her. I picked up some wheat germ and some blackstrap molasses. I'd be going home, and that she was welcome to ride with me.
Uh-huh.
And she gave me that nice smile of hers and says, "No, thanks, Miss Brownlee. The walk will do me good." Now, just why a walk in the hot sun would do anyone any good is beyond me. But I'm not one to push myself onto other people. And the ride was there. She could take it or leave it.
Yeah, tell me, did you see her after that?
Yes, I did. This time from across the street. But there's no mistaking her for anyone else, you know.
No, I don't suppose there is.
Well, there she was, going into Pliny.
Just a minute. Pliny's?
The camera shop. Pliny Branstedter's place. Hocus pocus, out of focus. That's what Mr. Brownlee calls Pliny. But then they're in the lodge together, you know.
Yeah. That makes all the difference.
Well, I really wouldn't know if she was or not. You see, Pliny's not here. He had to go to Hollywood for supplies. I don't work here. I'm his wife.
Yeah, but if Mrs. Harper left some pictures here or picked some up, there'd be a record of it, wouldn't there?
Yes, I suppose there would. I just left the door open to keep cool. We're really supposed to be closed.
Yeah, I realize that. Well, I just thought for a member of the lodge, you know, Pliny might be willing to...
Why didn't you say so?
Well...
Left your emblem on your other suit, I'll bet.
Yeah.
Oh, Pliny does it all the time. You man.
That's right.
I'm in the auxiliary.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm. Well, now, let's have a look here. Pictures from Mrs. Harper. Ought to be here, if they're back yet. Amy Harper?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, there you are, Mr. Harper.
Oh.
That'll be 73 cents, including tax.
Oh, about that.
73 cents, Mr. Harper.
Oh, yeah, well, I want to tell you two things. I think Mrs. Harper would want to pick these up herself, and, I'm not Mr. Harper. I slowed to a walk around the corner, got in my car, and thought about what I'd seen. A cozy selection of pictures taken at the beach, of Amy mostly. But one or two of Cousin Ray lifting weights yet. And one of Amy and Ray together. Who took it? Enos? Cousin Beatrice? I don't think so. Well, it was almost dark now as I eased the car into Enos's driveway. And when I got there, it was dark. The sky above still held the afterglow of early evening. But the web of compact trees and shrubs that surrounded the Harper house made patches of blackness all around me. I got out of the car and I saw a light somewhere in the back of the house. And back there, too, a faint sound I couldn't distinguish. There was a sudden movement from the hedge behind.
Oh! Stay out of it, Marlowe. Stay out of it!
In just a moment, we will return to the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first...
August 5th, 1951, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, August 5th, 1951.
And now with our star, Gerald Mohr, the second act of Philip Marlowe, and tonight's story, The Long Way Home.
There was a sharp knot of pain at the top of my spine. But the bulldozer who jumped me from behind wouldn't settle for that. My face smashed into the dew-soaked grass, and I inhaled a lungful of wet Vigoro while someone with the strength of 10 flailed away at my back. Why I wanted to turn over and take it head-on, I'll never know. But I kept trying to turn. I slithered instead, slid along the wet grass with a vice on my back. A vice with a voice that kept hounding me.
Stay out of it, Marlowe. Stay out of it.
What's going on?
Hopper!
Hey,
You had it, Marlowe. Hopper!
Texas,
Hopper!
get off my property now. Go on, get over here.
Hey, Hopper!
Yes?
Why, Mr. Marlowe.
What's left of me?
Why, I don't understand, Mr. Marlowe. What happened? Who was it?
3 guesses.
What do you mean?
Skip it.
Well, you better come into the house, Mr. Marlowe. Yeah, I'll help you. Easy.
Is it loud enough for you to hear out back?
Loud enough?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I came running, didn't I?
Yeah, you sure did.
Well, come along now. I'll take care of you, Mr. Marlowe.
Someone beat you to it, Enos.
There now. You should feel better.
Should I? Hey, Enos.
Yes?
You like the beach?
Why, it's all right, Mr. Marlowe. I'm not much of a swimmer anymore. Well, Amy never cared for the beach, so we never went.
Uh-huh.
Why do you ask?
I don't know. Why do you ask anything?
Mr. Marlowe, I know you've been through a lot. I wouldn't blame you if you'd want to give up looking for Amy. If you would.
Forget it, Enos. I'll give up anything. Well, so far the case added up to a stiff back and a head wrapped in a tight band of steel with built-in hammer. A few quick blasts at the pint in the glove department helped not at all. But something drove the car. The stop at the hospital in Burbank could have been for personal reasons. The attendant at the main floor desk looked real surprised when I asked what floor Cousin Beatrice was on.
It's nearly 9:30. Visiting hours are over at 8:30.
Oh, well, I lost track of time, I guess. Can you tell me where she is anyway? I'll come back tomorrow.
What did you say the name was?
Quinlan, Mrs. Ray, or Mrs. Beatrice. Could be either one.
Quackenbush, Quinby. That's it. No Quinlan list.
You sure?
I just looked. Are you sure?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm not. Thanks for asking me.
Oh, Marlowe, come in.
Yeah, I will.
Hey, you look all in.
I'm fine. What hospital's your wife in, Quinlan?
What?
The one about 3 blocks from here, just up on Riverside?
Yeah,
Who made her up, Quinlan? You or Amy?
What do you mean made her up?
Amy never had a cousin Beatrice like you never had a wife with the same name.
Well, you know that much. Do you know where Amy is?
No. I may get another psychic flash any minute now, like the one I got when you were unlacing my spine a while back.
You shouldn't have found out about those pictures. More than that, you shouldn't have gone to tell Enos about them. There's a lot he don't know. Amy doesn't want to hurt the old guy. We've been trying to figure out how to tell him. Have you got any leads on her?
Not any real ones. Hey, wait a minute. You really don't know where she is?
I knew I'd be with her.
Huh? Hey, tell me, how'd you meet her?
At a bar over in Riverside near where she lives.
Yeah?
She'd already invented Cousin Beatrice all by herself to give her someplace to go. We liked it being together. Got kind of brave about it after a while. Sometimes I go right up to her door for her. The rest of the time, we have a regular corner where I pick her up.
This corner, is it near her house?
Not far. I was supposed to pick her up Monday, but she didn't show up.
Yeah. Hey, you know, it's funny. I was all set to beat your head flat when I came in. All of a sudden, I don't feel like it.
And the conclusion of the Adventures of Philip Marlowe, August 5th, 1951, when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continue. But first...
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, A Long Way Home, August 5th, 1951.
When I got back to the car, I thought my head would cave in. Every inch of me screamed with pain, and sometimes you got to give in to these things. I tried for home, but I only made it to a motel on Riverside. I was out before the light was. I found a barber shop and black coffee the next morning in the community center near Harper's. It was a thick, fuzzy 10 o'clock when I reeled out onto the street and headed toward my car.
That's the one, Clyde. The tall man.
Hey, you there. Wait a minute.
Me?
Yeah, you. You sure, honey?
I'm sure, all right.
Oh, what's the trouble? I do something wrong, Mrs. Pliny?
Pliny thinks so. Tell him.
Well, posing as a lodge brother when you're not is pretty serious, mister. I don't like that.
Well, I don't think much of it myself now that I think of it.
But we'll skip that. What I want to know is what's the deal with those pictures of Mrs. Harper's?
No deal? Why?
Everybody's looking at them. Nobody's picking them up or paying for them.
Wait a minute. Do that slow.
All right. First, Mrs. Harper comes in. Monday it was, Monday. And they're not ready yet. She says she'll pick them up later that day. She don't come back. A guy does, though. He just looks at them, smiles, and says she'll get them.
Who was he, do you know?
Well, I don't know him. He a young guy, brown hair, got a tan.
Uh-huh. Well?
Well, in about an hour, another guy comes in, and he looks, but he don't buy. Then last evening, you...
Oh, wait a minute. That second guy, Pliny, he's older. Small man, gray, about 60?
Yeah. Now, here's my problem. Who wants those pictures?
Not your problem, Pliny, old boy. It's mine. The house was open, so I walked in. Enos was out in the back, pouring something out of a sack onto a flower bed along the back fence, then working it into the soil around the flowers. I looked around and found a bedroom that had to be Amy's. Everything was neat, in order. I turned and started out of the room, and then I saw it sticking out from under a cologne bottle on her dressing table. I picked it up, and as I turned to go out, 3 matched pieces of luggage pointed an accusing finger. And then I found my way back into the garden.
Hi. Good morning, Mr. Marlowe. Have you, found out anything?
Yeah, I think I have. This laundry ticket, Enos, I found it in Amy's room.
Oh?
Why didn't you tell me the truth in the first place?
I don't know what you mean.
Amy was here after she left for the laundromat. The ticket proves it.
Well,
You found out about Cousin Ray, didn't you, Enos? You looked at the pictures in the camera shop. Maybe you'd suspected for a long time, and this cinched it. So you picked her up on the corner instead of Ray, and you came home.
Mr.
And you had a big, fat fight about Ray, didn't you?
Why, yes, we did. I said some horrible things, Mr. Marlowe. Horrible things.
Now you're sorry. You want her back, don't you?
I'd give anything to have her back, Mr. I love her, you know.
Yeah, I know. Enos, I looked through Amy's closet. It's pretty full of clothes. Her luggage is still there.
Yes. Amy has a lot of clothes. She wears them well, too.
Amy didn't go very far, Enos.
No.
The man in the garden shop says you're the gardener around here, not Amy.
Did he?
That sack of lime is almost empty, Enos. 50 pounds is a lot for a garden, isn't it?
Depends on what use you put it to, Mr. Marlowe.
Did you have to kill her, Enos?
To keep her, I did. She wanted to leave me. Go away with him. I couldn't stand that.
Did you think I wouldn't figure it out?
I didn't know. But I had to find out. Didn't I, Mr. Marlowe?
He came with me quietly. Everything about him was quiet and neat and gray. He was the mildest, gentlest man I ever met, and yet he had killed the thing he loved most, his Amy, for the oldest reason in the world. She wasn't his anymore. What was it the old man said? I had to find out, didn't I, Mr. Marlowe? Yeah. Curiosity killed the cat. It also killed Amy.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character, star Gerald Mohr, are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and written for radio by Kathleen Height. Featured in the cast were Bill Johnstone as Enos Harper and Jack Moyles as Ray Quinlan, with Mary Lansing, Sam Edwards, Junius Matthews, Vivi Janis, and Peter Leeds. Gerald Mohr may currently be seen in the Santana production, Sirocco. The special music for Philip Marlowe is composed by Pierre Garrigank and conducted by Wilbur Hatch.
August 5th, 1951, Gerald Mohr, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we're going to hear episode number 197 of The Adventures of Jungle Jim. This is one of Bill's favorites. He's a fine listener to our show, and this episode, Jungle Jim, was broadcast August 5th, 1939.
Presenting the Adventures of Jungle Jim. The Adventures of Jungle Jim, broadcast weekly over this station, are dramatized from the full-color action pictures to be found in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest comic supplement that comes to you each week with your Hearst Sunday newspaper. Join the 11 million adults and 6 million youngsters who make their weekends more enjoyable reading the world's greatest comic and adventure pictures by the world's best artists featured in every issue of the Comic Weekly. Insist on the Sunday newspaper that brings you the Comic Weekly. The second half of Jungle Jim's party, searching for young Stacey's wife, have fallen into a disastrous trap. When they set out, Jungle Jim put Kolu in charge of that half of the expedition because of Kolu's superior knowledge of the jungle. But young Stacey is headstrong and over-anxious. He disregards Jim's orders, and despite Kolu's vigorous protests and repeated warnings, Stacey takes over command, leading the party across a long stretch of open ground. Suddenly they are stopped by a withering volley of rifle fire, and Stacey realizes all too late he has led the party into an ambush. When the firing stops...
Kolu, where are you? Kolu!
Be here, Stacey.
You all right, Kolu?
No. Have bad wound in leg.
Wound?
But I try to get away. I try get to hills, make signal fire. Maybe Tuan Jim see, bring help.
But what about me? What'll I do?
Better you stay here. Kolu have good chance if he go alone. If natives capture both, it be bad. No one warn Tuan Jim then.
All right, Kolu. You try to get away and warn Jim. I'll take your advice this time. I only wish I hadn't been so stubborn and headstrong before. And
be all right.
All this would never have happened.
I go now. If native come, do not shoot. Let them take you. Maybe take you to your wife.
Hurry, Kolu. They're coming. Goodbye and good luck. I'll surrender and try to hold them off while you get away. All right. I surrender. You killed all my men. There's nobody left but me.
Give me God, white man. We take your chief. He say no shoot you. He say bring white man the chief.
Your chief will be severely punished for this. The white man's police and soldiers will come for me.
White policeman, soldier, now find you. 1 hour longer will hire. Tie you up good. Now get away. We take you now to chief.
In the meanwhile, Jungle Jim and his party have been following a fresh trail that signs show have been used a few hours earlier by Stacey's wife and her native maid, Nari. Jim's party have made their way down a stream through the jungle and have at last reached an open clearing.
Master Jim, you trail in here. We find small canoe. Here, see? Good work, Moko. Here be lot of footprints. There be Missy Stacey footprints. Then Nari. Here lot of native footprints all around.
You're right, Moko. This is a fresh trail.
Well, what's the good word, Jim? Did you find the trail again?
Yes, Lil, we're in luck.
Really?
Yep. Moko found the canoe beached up in the rushes there. And judging by the footprints, the two women were met here by the natives. They got out of the canoe and started overland again. The footprints are fresh, which means they're still only a few hours ahead of us.
Great. I'm awfully glad we're through wading upstream for a while. That was tough travel. We ought to make good time through this open country.
We're not going to, though. I don't want to take any chances of being seen or surprised by some of these devils lying in ambush.
Then aren't you going to follow this trail?
Yes, but first we're going to pitch camp here for a while. I'm going to send two boys ahead a little way to follow the trail, then come back and make a report.
I see. Then we cut back in the jungle and work around it.
And that's the idea, Lil. There's too many of us to go through this open country. Two boys can separate, keep well down in the grass and not be noticed. So you might as well take that pack off and rest.
Oh.
I'll give Moko the instructions.
Okay. A little rest will do me a lot of good.
Moko!
Master.
Moko, come over here.
Yes, sir, Master Jim.
Moko, we're going to pitch camp here for a while and wait.
Very good, Master Jim.
I want you to pick out two good trackers and send them ahead to follow this trail. Tell them to work about 15 to 20 yards apart and keep pretty well down in the long grass where they won't be seen by any lookout men. Tell them to follow it for a couple of miles and get the general direction it follows. Then they can double back here.
Yes, sir, Master Jim.
And Moko, tell them to be very careful and keep their eyes and ears open and come back in a hurry if they see anyone.
Yes, Master Jim. Moko, tell them, send them quick.
The rest of us can eat while we're waiting, so rustle up some food.
Yes, sir. Moko, quick.
Jim. You suppose those natives have their village back in this country somewhere?
Oh, I'm pretty sure they must have, Lil. It's an ideal place. Well hidden and hard to get at. Just the sort of country they'd pick to operate in.
And it's going to be pretty tough to approach their village, even if we do find it.
Yes, they've probably got every trail, path, or road leading to their village well blocked and guarded. And with a prize captive like Stacey's wife, they're going to be doubly cautious.
Isn't that one of those native trackers coming back?
Yes, and coming back on the run, too. Must have sighted something. Or some very important news. What is it, Moko? What did he say?
He say he follow trail like Moko tell him. Go maybe miles, then come to high ground. He see long way on hill, puff out smoke many times. He watch and think it be someone making smoke signals.
Smoke signals, eh? That might be Kolu.
Boy say he see 3 small puffs of smoke, then 1 big one, then come small ones again.
That's Kolu, all right, and he's in trouble. That's our code for help.
Boy say signal come 3, 4 times, then stop.
All right, Moko. Tell the boys to get ready to move off, and don't lose any time. We've got to head for high ground where I can read those signals. Come on, let's go, Lil.
Sure. Gee, that sounds like bad news, Jim. What do you suppose has happened?
I haven't any idea, except it's pretty darn serious. Kolu uses smoke signals only as a last resort. And a trouble signal is his SOS. So we've got to answer it.
Hurrying along with all the speed possible, Jungle Jim and his party reached the high ground where the native had seen the smoke signals. Eagerly, Jungle Jim scans the skyline above the distant hilltops for the telltale smoke signal. But the sky is clear, and the distant hills reveal no trace of a signal.
Well, something serious must have happened, Jim. Maybe Kolu's been wounded, or we're still captured by those natives.
That's possibly what happened. His smoke signals attracted the natives who got to him before we could. Moko, ask that boy again if he's sure that's the place those signals were coming from.
Yes, Master Jim. Adingo Wiggy Wandaloo. Iwarenyi Dawara. Hey, he say yes, Master Jim. Very sure smoke signals come from high plates on hills over there.
How about lighting a fire here and signaling him to see if he replies?
I'd be almost tempted to, Lil, if the risk wasn't so great. We'd be taking too much of a chance sending up signals those natives could see. Warn them we're in their country. Give them a chance to make their getaway or sneak up and attack us.
He probably had been signaling for a long time. He wouldn't give up unless something very serious had happened to prevent him from continuing.
Yep. Took us quite a while to get here. It looks as though we got here just too late. We've waited now almost an hour. Nothing has shown up. Boy, I'd give him my right arm to know what's happened to Kolu. Gosh, I'd certainly hate to lose him after all these years of friendship and service together.
Oh, Jim. Let's hope he's all right and he'll signal again soon.
Moko, post one of the boys to keep watch on that hill. And shout the moment he sees a signal. And tell your boys, get all the rest they can. We might have to make a forced march all night. If we get the signal that Kolu's in trouble.
Very good, Master Jim. Moko and boys be ready when you say.
Kolu and that party reached the spot he was signaling from. They must have covered a whole lot of territory.
That's just what I can't understand, Lil. Those hills are on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
I told them to work up to the river toward us.
And it's not like Kolu to disobey orders. There must be a very good reason for him being so far off his course.
No, and that's what has me worried. You know from the trails we followed, that these natives we're after are working well to the south and east.
Yeah. One native tracker come back, Master Jim. He follow trail 3 miles south. Find plenty footprint. Climb tree. See off in distant native camp. Not village, but camp. Plenty warriors there. Camp deep in valley, boy say.
Well, that's good. They are to the south of us. Oh, gosh, now if we can only get some word from Kolu.
Let me boys see smoke, Master Jim.
Okay, Moko. I see them. That's the signal. 3 small puffs, 1 big one, 3 small ones. Yep, that's the emergency call, all right.
Thank heaven he's still all right. Look, he's repeating the emergency call.
Yep. Now he's sending the message. S-T-A-C-E-Y. Stacey. C-A-P-T-U-R-E-D. Stacey captured. C-O-M-E. Come. A-T. Come at O-N-C-E. Come at once. Kolu. Well, here's the bad news. Stacey captured. Come at once. Kolu.
Far off in the distant hills, Jungle Jim reads the ominous message from the courageous Kolu, who, although wounded, has dragged himself across the plains to the hills, and with his infinite patience and iron will, sent word of the unfortunate defeat caused by Stacey's foolhardy stubbornness. But there are other eyes watching, the keen eyes of hostile natives. Have they seen the signals and started to investigate? Will Jungle Jim succeed in racing against time and reaching Kolu in time? Don't miss the next exciting episode in the Adventures of Jungle Jim. Remember, you can follow these adventures in the full-color action pictures which appear in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest comic supplement, containing the best full-color adventure and comic pictures. Remember, no other comic supplement can give you the top names of Cartoonland like the list of all-star favorites to be found in the Comic Weekly. The whole family follow the fun and frolics of Popeye the Sailor, Tilly the Toiler, Barney Google and the Little King, the impish antics of Skippy, the Katzenjammer Kids, the immortal Mickey Mouse, as well as the exciting adventures of Flash Gordon and Jungle Jim. Join the 11 million adults and 6 million youngsters who every week find the greatest of home entertainment in the Comic Weekly, which comes to you with your Hearst Sunday newspaper. More thrilling radio adventures of Jungle Jim We'll be heard at the same time next week over the same station. Be sure to tune in.
It's episode 197 of The Adventures of Jungle Jim, August 5th, 1939. If you're curious as to why only 197 episodes as of 1939, the show only ran weekly. That's right, a quarter-hour weekly. Basically a promotion piece promoting the Hearst newspaper's color funnies. They did that at the time, yeah. But the show did run from 1935 all the way to 1954. And what's interesting is that a lot of those shows are available. We just haven't gotten a hold of them yet. We are growing our collection slowly. And part of the reason that we grow so slowly is that acquiring a lot of these old shows is an expense that we can't always handle. But that's why we have Buy Me a Coffee on the website. If you'd like to contribute a little bit toward us getting a series or two, I'll be more than happy to take you if you'd like to buy me a coffee at classicradio.stream. That'll help us get a whole bunch more episodes of The Adventures of Jungle Jim. By the way, we thank you for listening. Hope you'll thank this station, support the advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that brings us to you on these 100 or so over-the-air radio stations that carry us here on Classic Radio Theater. And if you go to classicradio.stream, you can stream our shows on demand. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a show. You can also learn more about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our podcast information there as well. And you can find our social media. And you can also contact me directly. That webpage again is classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.